Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I asked Reddit what they would want for the next Battlefield game. I don't go in the Battlefield subreddits because I don't think it's any secret. Well, I think they're kind of a bunch of crazy people on there, but I did find it to be very useful to gauge the Battlefield community, or perhaps people that I don't interact with very often, on what they want for the next Battlefield game. And to my surprise, seeing that it is Reddit, a lot of people did give me a lot of really productive replies that we'll go over in this video. And of course, we will definitely be looking at some of the funnier suggestions as well. So without further ado, if you enjoy the channel, sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't watch my Battlefield 2042 review, it came out on the 30th. I will link it in the description. Hopefully you guys are really enjoying that video. It did take me quite a long time to make, and I thought I'd mix it up in today's video and use some background gameplay from Battlefield 5. Don't worry, I'm not playing Battlefield 5 because I'm still banned from pretty much every server on that game, but these are all leftover clips. So, I went on to r/Battlefield 2042, and I simply asked the people of this subreddit, what do you want from the next Battlefield game? I'm making a Battlefield 2042 review, and I need your help for one of the final sections. In as few or as many words as possible, please describe what you want from the next Battlefield game. And with that, the floodgates were opened. Obviously, making this post, I'm not expecting any sort of general consensus. Number one, because we're on Reddit and no one can agree with anything. And number two, the Battlefield community can't agree on what Battlefield actually is in the first place. I simply just wanted to see what people's expectations and hopes were for the next title. A lot of people had very similar replies to this gentleman, who said he wants the setting to be BF4-like and modern, atmosphere of Battlefield 1, to have the movement of Battlefield 5 and the combat of Battlefield 5. He wants grounded character customization, conventional military factions, no specialists, class-locked weapons, factions with all their vehicles looking unique, and classes that look unique enough to identify them. And this is funny because one of the replies to this is, so basically you just want Battlefield back. And I have to agree with everything he said. It's very reasonable, very straightforward, and totally within reach. There were multiple different posts that are very similar with just a few minor differences here and there to this specific comment, and if there had to be a general consensus from this Reddit post, I would have to say that this person's comment is certainly it. People just want Battlefield 4-2, essentially. But that's not all the interesting insights this post gave me, because there were a lot of other people that came in with completely different perspectives to the next Battlefield game. Some people focused on specific aspects they want the next Battlefield game to focus on or emphasize, rather than detailing an entire game. Some of the more popular ones are people basically telling DICE not to pump resources into a mode like Hazard Zone, or to create a competitive mode. This person simply wants them to focus on the backbone of the franchise, as he put it, and it's very simple. I would agree with him. I don't think you need to really overcomplicate things, although they might have already overcomplicated things because they did all but confirm a free-to-play Battle Royale in the next Battlefield game, but that's probably EA forcing it into the game rather than the developers actually wanting to make it. As we all know, EA is always going to do what EA wants, even if it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Another person replied to this post, and he simply commented, destructible environments, and it got 130 upvotes. So as you can see, people are really focusing on emphasizing more destruction in the next Battlefield, but in my opinion, you have to be very careful about what you do with destruction. You can easily go overboard. So in the hopes of him expanding on what he wants, I just replied to him, similar to what previous Battlefield game? And he replied, a combination of Battlefield 3 and 4. Again, I would have to agree with these statements. I think a combination of Battlefield 3 and 4 destruction would be just fine. With Battlefield 3's destruction, I like that particularly because you could destroy areas just enough to where it changed the way the game plays, but it didn't destroy the gameplay, because Battlefield 3's destruction left certain parts of buildings available to use as cover, which is of course essential to map playability, the fun you have, the amount of cover available, the map flow, all sorts of different things. One of the funnier replies to this post was from this person, and all he had to say was, a clear identity and long-term support, and of course I had to reply with brutal expectations. Even Battlefield Bulletin replied to this post. If you don't know who Battlefield Bulletin is, The person that runs Battlefield Bulletin is one of the biggest news sources for the Battlefield franchise, particularly on Twitter and on Reddit, and he basically outlined his vision for the next Battlefield game. He wants traditional class systems, server browsers, persistent lobbies, leaderboards, spectator modes, test range assignments, ribbons, medals, dog tags, custom emblems, clan tags, manual leaning, which I think is interesting, squad cams, stat trackers, air, land, and sea vehicle maps, and destructible environments, including specifically terrain deformation from Battlefield 1 and micro-destruction from Battlefield 3's Close Quarter DLC. Talk about getting down to the nitty-gritty, huh? So overall, I think this is definitely a really great outline for a Battlefield game. Again, this is similar to the first comment I discussed in this video. There are small differences here and there, but generally speaking, everyone seems to want around the same thing. They just can't agree on the details necessarily. One of the most underrated replies to this entire post was from this person. He just says, go back to 64 players, BF4 style gunplay, no cosmetics/skins. Now, while I don't really agree with no cosmetics/skins, I heavily agree with his next statement, which is an actual skill gap and deep mechanics for infantry/vehicles. This is a massive, massive thing that literally forms the gameplay of Battlefield. The best Battlefields have a bunch of depth built into the game itself via mechanics. For instance, Battlefield 4. Learning vehicles in Battlefield 4 was completely different for every single vehicle you picked up. You could spend hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours, mastering each separate vehicle category because the mechanics were in place to have that be a thing. Jets had speed control. In order to turn the fastest, you had to maintain your speed at 313. If you wanted to keep the tightest loop and be the best dogfighter, you had to master that first, as well as mastering a bunch of different dogfighting techniques, such as cutting and switching and ECM jamming and all sorts of weird things. And as far as infantry goes, I'll use Battlefield 5 for instance. There was something called ice skating in Battlefield 5 that had to do with chaining slides together. You could crouch bounce through windows by jumping through a window and landing perfectly on the windowsill. You could completely stabilize your aim with a jump peak where you switched weapons before you jumped. All of these things add depth to gameplay and allow people to learn how to play the game at a higher level, which makes the game more fun and more interesting. And I'll cap this video off by leaving you guys with a very funny reply to this post. MJ says he wants Battlefield Aliens. Humans in year 2800 versus alien invasion. No Fortnite skins or Nicki Minaj stuff. Bipods that actually work. Different types of ammo. DLC not Battle Pass. So he wants premium back. Atmosphere, cover, destruction. Possibilities are endless. Something tells me that I don't think we're going to get that for the next Battlefield game. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Again, I just posted my Battlefield 2042 review. I will link it in the description. Go give it a watch if you didn't already watch it. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you want me to do more of these Reddit post-based videos just to sort of gauge what the community wants. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.